Before sunrise in Lithuania, armed officers surrounded a villa where a man had been hiding for a decade. At the same time in the UK, detectives were cracking open an empire worth millions. 2 countries, 2 crews, one brutal truth, even the untouchables fall. This is the story of James Mulvy, Najif Salem, and Nahidul Manaf, drug bosses who built their empires in silence and believed they'd never hear the knock. But they did, and it all started with one tiny mistake. The first crack didn't echo through London. It whispered through the countryside. Worcestershire, Ink Barrow, a yard so plain you'd never look twice. But behind that gate, smuggling on an industrial scale. Hollow steel rollers, heavier than a car, packed tight with cocaine, cannabis, and phenacetin. Ordinary on the outside, millions on the inside. The method was simple and genius. The same rollers moved between Belgium, Holland, and the UK. Each one filed as routine freight. Drivers had paperwork. Trucks had legitimate stickers. Everything looked clean. For years, the shipments slid under everyone's nose, invisible, untouchable, until one mistake blew it wide open. In a warehouse near Antwerp, a worker noticed the same rollers kept coming back again and again, too often to ignore. Belgian police cracked one open. Jackpot. But they didn't pounce. Not yet. They set a trap. Let the delivery roll through. Watched it move from Antwerp through Worcestershire on its way to Ireland. Every stop tracked, every transfer logged. When the raid hit, it hit hard. 1 seizure, 20 kilos of cocaine, 364 kilos of cannabis. But that was just the surface. Detectives quickly realized this wasn't a lucky bust. This was a system, a network, an empire hiding in plain sight. And at the center of it all, a ghost, James Mulvy. They called him the Ghost because once things got hot, he vanished. Days before the arrest in 2009, Mulvy slipped out of the UK. No panic, no mistakes, a clean exit, because he knew what was coming. He didn't run, he relocated to southern Spain, a 1.5 million pound villa near Marbella. Indoor pool, outdoor pool, private lift, cinema room. Mulvy was plugged in deep. His crew ran the UK side of an international pipeline. And at the top of that food chain, Irish cartel families, the Kinahans, the Kavanaghs, the same names behind murders, shootouts, and drug wars. Mulvy wasn't just connected, he was blood, cousin to Thomas Kavanagh, one of Ireland's most feared enforcers. Together, they made drugs flow across borders like clockwork. Rollers were just the start. When that method burned, they adapted fast. Drugs hidden inside fake Harley Davidsons, inflatable sea scooters, leisure toys turned into mobile stash houses. The shipments kept rolling. Only now, they were harder to spot. Mulvy never got his hands dirty. He had layers. Layers of shell companies, offshore trusts, hotel stays paid in cash, phones he tossed weekly. But what he didn't hide, the lifestyle. Rolex watches, Mercedes SUVs, 22 overseas trips booked through luxury travel agents, a 1,000-pound-a-week cocaine habit, 75 grand in cash every single week. He lived like he couldn't be touched, like the rules didn't apply. But behind the bravado grew paranoia. Because when you live among killers, you don't die quietly. And Mulvy knew, if the law didn't catch him, someone else might. That paranoia wasn't wrong. The National Crime Agency had picked up the scent, and this time, they weren't letting go. They launched an investigation. One of the biggest surveillance operations in UK crime history. 9 countries, dozens of agents, millions of documents. They weren't looking to catch a mule. They were hunting the ghost. Every move Mulvy made was tracked. Every hotel, every cash drop, every burner phone swap. And then the recordings started rolling. Covert surveillance teams got close, real close. They planted bugs, cameras, microphones in places even Mulvy didn't expect. And what he said gave everything away.
I want to be with you, I love you, but this is what my life was. I tried to get away with it, but I don't want you involved in it. Do you not understand how these people work? Do you not understand? If they can't get to me, they go to the people you love, they kill the people you love.
In one tape, he bragged, "No one can control me. I'm fucking nuts." In another, he slipped. He told a woman, "In my world, they don't come for you. They kill the people you love." The bravado was cracking. The mask was slipping. Mulvy had spent years building walls around himself. But the NCA just kept climbing. And then came the link. His father. Covert footage, April 2017. A quiet crematorium in Sutton Coldfield. Mulvy's dad sitting with a man investigators couldn't place. But when they zoomed in, it was Thomas Kavanagh. 1 week later, another sighting, same crew, different spot, more silent meetings, more shadows. The ghost may have been hiding, but his network was still breathing, and the NCA had seen enough. March 28, 2017, Lithuanian special forces surrounded the villa. They didn't knock, they stormed it. Flashbangs, boots smashing doors, rifles raised, screams in the dark. Inside, James Mulvy, half-dressed, coked up, and caught completely off guard. Thrown to the ground, face down, rifles aimed at his skull. The ghost captured. They found a gun, 100 rounds of ammunition, bulletproof vests, a life lived in fear. But the hunt was over, and the reckoning was just beginning. While Mulvy was going down in Europe, another empire was rising in Manchester. Different names, same game. Drugs, firearms, encrypted phones. Najif Salem and Nahidul Manaf, partners in crime. One ran the supply lines, the other, the cannabis farms. Salem moved like a boss. Cocaine, cannabis, guns. You name it, he moved it. Encrypted phones kept him hidden, but one slip changed everything. October 2019, Cheadle, a quiet house, nothing special. But out back, a shed packed with pistols and ammunition. At first, police thought it was a fluke. Wrong address, wrong crew. But CCTV said otherwise. Nahidul Manaf was caught on camera visiting that shed more than once. That's when it clicked. These weren't just weed guys, they were stockpiling weapons. 3 raids, 3 pistols, hundreds of rounds, a silencer. And then came the big break. EncroChat, Operation Venetic. When police cracked the system, they cracked the case. Salem was using the alias Rafael Caro Quintero, named after a Mexican cartel boss. His messages were full of orders, bulk cocaine deals, gun shipments, ammunition by the hundreds, even grenades. 250, 300, 500, as many as you can get. Straight from his encrypted phone. He wasn't playing gangster, he was running like one. July 8, 2020, the doors came down. Police hit Salem's home. 30,000 pounds in cash, anti-surveillance gear, phones. Same day they hit Manaf. Cannabis grow at his address. Fully equipped, professional. Then the jackpot. 2 industrial units in Cheetham Hill. Inside, cannabis farms, serious scale, serious money. The empire was burning. May 2024, Manchester Crown Court. The verdict was brutal. Najif Salem, 22 years in prison. Nahidul Manaf, 10. James Mulvy, 32. One of the longest drug trafficking sentences in UK history. The so-called untouchables touched, coked up villas, hidden guns, cryptic messages. All of it collapsed under pressure. They thought they were ghosts. They ended up ghosts in a cell. What do you think? Was justice served? Or were there more shadows hiding in plain sight? Drop your take in the comments.